Now it's time for elimination. I always like elimination because it sounds like a game show. Okay. To do elimination, one of your variables have to cancel out completely. If a problem's set up to use this strategy, you're probably going to see that there's something that cancels out easily. This first case right here is perfect for elimination. Now, you don't have to do elimination. Like I said earlier, you can do substitution instead. It really is up to you. You could even graph these if you want to. But because it says elimination, we're going to practice elimination. And the reason we know it's elimination, like let's pretend it didn't tell us how to solve it. Let's pretend I just looked at this and it doesn't tell me what method to use. A big red flag goes off, and I'm going to even do it in red so you can see the red flag. When I see this, that says elimination time because they're opposites, okay? So you can do elimination whenever something cancels out right away. That makes it the best method to use. I'm going to put a line here, and I'm going to put a big plus sign to remember that I'm adding. 5 plus 3 is 8. Negative 5y plus positive 5y gives me plus 0. That's our additive inverse property. Remember, when you add opposites, you get 0. It's like if I gave you $5 and you gave me $5. It's just 0. Nothing actually happened. 10 plus 54 is 64. So now that you've done the elimination part, you're actually just solving an equation like you did in Unit 1. I'm going to simplify this side first. 8x plus 0 is 8x because 8x plus nothing is just going to be 8x. And I'm going to bring down my 64. Now I got to figure out what 1x is equal. If 8x is a 64, then I know that I can divide by 8 to figure out one of them. Because 8 divided by 8 is 1. So it gives me 1x. And 64 divided by 8 is 8. So x equals 8. Awesome. Now we have, really quickly, x equals 8. See, the bright side of elimination is look at all this work we had to do to solve substitution. This is step 1 of substitution. Step 1 of elimination is that. So sometimes it's a better method to use. You don't have to use it, but sometimes it makes it a little bit faster. I'm going to pick one of these equations to do next. So the funny thing is, even though it's called elimination, you actually always have to do substitution no matter what. And the reason I said that is because we have to take this guy and we have to substitute it into one of our equations. So really, all problems are substitution. So now we're just substituting. This part was elimination. If x equals 8, that means I can plug the 8 in the x spot. Because x equals 8 means x is 8. So I'm going to put 5 times 8, or you can do the parentheses if you want, minus 5y equals 10. We always do our distribution first, so we're going to distribute the 5 to the 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Distribute really is just a fancy word for multiply. And then again, I'm bringing down my 5y, I'm bringing down my equals, and I'm bringing down my 10. We're just solving equations. We want y by itself. I'm going to move the constant over with his friend because all the constants want to be together. When I move it across this line of opposites here, it becomes negative because it was positive. So I have negative 5y equals 10 minus 4. I know it's a lot to take the extra step to write the minus 40, but it does help us in the long run. 10 minus 40 is negative 30. Make sure you use your calculator for that. I know sometimes we don't want to use them, but your brain's doing a lot right now. Cut it some slack. And again, I want a 1 in front of the y. To get a 1 in front of the y, I need to divide both sides by negative 5. That's going to give me 1y because negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. And then I'm going to do it to the other side. Negative 30 divided by negative 5 is 6. Final step. X is 8 and y is 6. Now I haven't been writing this, but just so you remember, a coordinate point is written as x comma y. The x is always first in a coordinate point. Sometimes it's confusing because slope has y on top. And that's okay. That's why we take our time. I would pause this and then resume it after you've tried the next one for elimination. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, this isn't perfectly set up for anything, really. I don't see any super big red flags for elimination, which means that if I want to do elimination with this problem, I'm going to have to put forth a little work. To do elimination, I have to have two numbers that cancel out. I like to think of it like finding common denominators. If you think of this as the number in front of the x, if you think of it as a denominator, let's say this is 2 and this is 3, and you're trying to add these together. Most of you remember that whenever you add fractions, you need to get a common denominator. A lot of your teachers will teach you to just switcheroo, or they'll call it the butterfly method. And you'll do whatever you do on bottom, you'll do to the top. It really is the same thing here. The only difference is we need to eliminate. Whenever someone's eliminated on a game show, they tend to get really upset. It's negative, right? So the one that's going to get eliminated, one of them is going to be upset. If that story didn't help you, then definitely don't remember it. So like I said, we're kind of just doing a little switcheroo here. There's a 2 by my x there, so I'm going to put a 2 right there. There's a 3 by my x here, so I'm going to put a 3 up here. And then again, sometimes when we eliminate people, they get sad. So we're going to make one of these negative because he's sad he's being eliminated. In case you need some colors to see what I did, here's my 3. And here's my 2. So I just switcherooed them. Now whenever I do stuff like this, I don't usually like writing vertically because it's kind of confusing for me. I like to write it straight across. But I was a little messy here, so I'm going to have to write it down. I'm going to do negative 3 times 2x, then plus my 6y times negative 3 equals 6 times negative 3. I know it's a lot to write that out, but sometimes when we do these little humps, we don't actually know what's happening. What we're doing is we're distributing. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. And 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Make sure that you have all your operators. Now I'm going to simplify this guy. 2 times 3x plus 5y times 2 equals 17 times 2. I'm going all the way out and doing all of these steps one at a time because I'm teaching it to you. If you don't need to write it out, then don't. But I don't want you to make a mistake because you went too fast. Alright, now that I have my system simplified, I can actually do elimination. I'm going to move my equations next to each other. So, I'll put my negative 6x under my 6x. I'll put my negative 18 under y under my 10y. And then I'll put my negative 18 under my 34. I'm going to write a big plus sign to remember I'm adding all this together. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Yay, it canceled out. Eliminated. Woo woo. 10 plus negative 18 is going to be, negative 8. Make sure you use your calculator for that. And then 34 plus negative 18. Oh goodness, that's a tricky one. Okay, let's see. 34 plus negative 18. 16. Okay, I'm glad I plugged that in. Now again, this is 8y's. We want it to be 1y. To get rid of the 8, we're going to divide it by itself. Because negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1. Teachers don't usually write the 1, but I think sometimes it's helpful. 16 divided by negative 8 is 2. Oh wait, it's negative 2. Don't drop the negative sign. Now like I said, when you do elimination, you actually always have to do substitution. It's kind of a trick. You can't get rid of that substitution. We know that y is negative 2. Here's a tricky thing. Make sure you write down one of your original problems. Don't write how you changed it. Write how it was. Okay, so I want to write it exactly how it was here. I'm not going to write what I did in this spot. Okay, so my first equation is 2x plus 6y equals 6. I'm just going to use that one. Y is negative 2, So I can plug the negative 2 in the y spot. And now it's set up so I can solve it because there's only one letter. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. And then I need to combine my like terms. I'm moving my negative 12 over to this side. Whenever I move across the across the equal sign, it's going to be opposite. And then I ran out of room here. Sorry about that, guys. But our last step is to divide by 2. So I end up with x equals 9. My final answer is 9, negative 2. Now, I make mistakes all the time. So if I did something wrong, please let me know and I'll re-record. Hopefully this helps.